Tonight on Cronkite News, the Sun Devils look to make a good first impression in the Big 12 as they open up conference play this weekend against the Kansas Jayhawks.
Plus, former Wizards guard Tyus Jones has now joined the Phoenix Suns and will look to help their offense get back on track.
And how a controversial ballot proposition that would guarantee access to abortion in Arizona could impact the presidential election. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Lauren Avenatti.
And I'm Nash Dara. Thank you for joining us.
A new document released by the NCAA today details the infractions incurred by ASU's football program when they violated recruiting rules during the COVID-19 recruiting dead period.
Ann Perry joins us now to break down the new information.
The NCAA had already sanctioned ASU football for these recruiting violations by putting them on probation, leveling a fine, and reducing some scholarships. But today, the NCAA released more detail about the violations that point to former ASU associate head coach Antonio Pierce as the, quote, quarterback of the infractions, further stating that Pierce ran the show with the help of non-coaching staff member Anthony Garnett. Pierce, who now coaches the NFL's Las Vegas Raiders, is said to have arranged for or personally provided free meals, apparel, airfare, and/or lodging for 27 prospects, often in collaboration with the booster, who was the parent of a then football student athlete in the program. We know that parent to be the mother of former quarterback Jaden Daniels. The 67-page document charges members of the football staff to have placed the health and safety of 35 prospects and their families at risk. Pierce received an 8-year show cause order, which means that should he be employed by the NCAA during that time, he will be suspended from all athletic activities for the first season of his employment. Garnett was issued a 5-year show cause order, as was former head coach Herm Edwards. The good news for ASU football, the program will not receive any more penalties than what they received last April. In the studio, Ann Perry, Cronkite News.
The football season is beginning to heat up for ASU. While currently sitting on a 3-1 record and seeking their first win in a new conference, from this point on, ASU will find themselves in Big 12 play starting this weekend. Our DeAndre Sanders is in Tempe with more on what ASU is expecting from an interesting Kansas team.
It is back to business for Sun Devil football. Now that the bye week is over, ASU will be back here at Mountain America Stadium for the first time in nearly a month in conference action against Kansas on Saturday. This will be the first time these two programs have faced each other, so Sam Levin and crew will have to deal with a Jayhawks defense that is coming into the game top 40 in the nation in interceptions.
They're going to line formation really well and, be where they're going to be. They're going to be a tough physical defense, and they got some length at corner and stuff like that. So it's going to be a good show, and I'm just excited to see what they can do.
ASU cannot overlook Kansas's 1-4 record. This is a team that started the season nationally ranked and predicted to finish top 5 in the Big 12. With the flip of a couple plays, the Jayhawks season is completely different.
You take away those 2 plays, and they have 2 more wins, in my opinion, right? And then you look at, last week, and or the week prior, and they're up 13 points with 4 minutes and 50 seconds left. Like, are you kidding me? Right? It's just this is a good football team, and sometimes people can just look at the record, and you can get skewed. But that is not accurate with this team.
Saturday's game will have a little extra meaning for the Sun Devils as it is family weekend, and also ASU will be welcoming 7 new members into the Sun Devil Hall of Fame, so not a game that you will want to miss. In Tempe, DeAndre Sanders, Cronkite News.
Following this weekend's game, ASU will be back at home next Friday against the 18th ranked Utah Utes before hitting the road again to battle the Bearcats in Cincinnati.
The Phoenix Suns all report to the Verizon 5G Center for training camp this week. Along with the familiar faces of Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal, there is a new star in town that will help lead the team this season. The Suns ranked 25th in the NBA for turnover rate last season, and they had no true point guard on the team. The solution for that? Bring in Tyus Jones, who was the best in the league when it came to assist-to-turnover ratio. A steal for the Suns as they got him on a veteran minimum contract and will slot him into the starting lineup to run the offense. So far, he's building chemistry with his new teammates.
It's a process. It's a process. We're taking it, one day at a time, and just trying to get a little bit better each and every day. We'll slowly start to implement more stuff each and every day, and it's a process. It's also a long season. Like, we're not going to win the championship, day one or week one or even month one. So as long as we're continuing to get better gradually and always taking steps forward, that's what we're focused on.
Fans will get a preview of Tyus Jones and this new-look Suns on Sunday when they play their first preseason game in Palm Springs, California, against the Los Angeles Lakers.
The Arizona Cardinals have had an unfortunate start to the season so far.
Cronkite News reporter Sam Dayton was at the practice bubble facility to hear how they plan to turn it around.
The Arizona Cardinals were left reeling after a 42-14 blowout loss to the Washington Commanders. The Cardinals struggled on both sides of the ball, allowing 216 rushing yards and giving up 4 sacks on quarterback Kyler Murray. Now 1-3 head coach Jonathan Gannon is calling on his team to respond.
Yeah, we got to have a good week of practice. Got to get our energy back up. This is a really good football team, as you guys know, on the road, and they're playing well. You know what I mean? I know they're 2-2, but they're playing extremely well, and they're really well coached. They got a lot of good players, so we got to have a really good week of practice.
You're pissed about some plays individually. You're upset about the result. You're motivated to become better. There's a lot of different emotions involved, but I think they all point towards getting better and getting the job done next week.
As the Cardinals regroup for Week 5, the focus will be on addressing their weaknesses and finding a way to bounce back. In Tempe, Sam Dayton, Cronkite News.
Coming up next, girls flag football is what's hot right now.
That's right, Lauren. 47 new varsity teams have joined the league. Now they're setting their sights on the 2028 Olympics. We'll meet one local team after the break.
Plus, the record-breaking heat continues. How hot will it be for those tailgating at the ASU versus Kansas game? Your full forecast is coming up.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
How students can build their broadcast journalism portfolio with opportunities to learn more about on-air reporting and studio production.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram @thecut_network and on X @cutASU.
3, 2, 1. Cronkite News. Get real professional experience in areas such as reporting, broadcast editing, and behind-the-scenes production, such as technical director and audio.
Kill the mics.
Or go out in the field and cover important local stories.
Learn and master the English language.
In a fun, welcoming atmosphere. Cronkite News. The future starts now.
The NLDS is set. It will be the Dodgers and Padres in Game 1 of the divisional series on Saturday.
Yes, that of course was supposed to be the Diamondbacks, but now the divisional crown will go to one of the Southern California teams. Our reporter at our Los Angeles bureau caught a glimpse of Dodger fever ahead of the weekend tilt. The men in blue will host San Diego for the first 2 games, and fans are happy this rivalry down at the 5 has been renewed.
You can definitely feel it, especially in this area. Even just here on this corner of the street, there's Ohtani fans and Dodger Blues everywhere, taking pictures, posing. And the Dodgers game was packed when I was there last week. So fun. The energy was so contagious.
Girls flag football is on the rise here in Arizona, and our state is one of 11 in the country that offers the game as an official varsity sport. Our Wilder Adams has more on the growth of the game.
Girls flag football is a growing sport in Arizona. Last year was the first year it was sanctioned as an official sport by the Arizona Interscholastic Association, and this season the state added 47 teams, pushing the total to 101 varsity teams. One of the new schools added to the 2024 season is the Notre Dame Prep Saints.
I felt like it'd be great to be part of history and to just set forth future flag football.
Players like McCracken pushed Saints athletic director Mike Mann last year that the girls wanted to hit the gridiron.
A lot of the kids went to him during the winter and said, hey, these other schools are playing flag. Why can't we do it? And they kept on him and on him and on him. Then he started talking to me in the spring, and then I brought the girls out in spring for a few days of spring ball. And just started it, you know.
Men's and women's flag football will make its Olympic debut at the 2028 Los Angeles Summer Olympics, something that players recognize helps legitimize the sport.
I think a sport being in the Olympics really solidifies the fact that it's like an official sport and it's not just a little pee-wee game. You got varsity schools like T1s, colleges, everyone's getting it now.
Girls flag football is still in its infant stages here in Arizona, but with further exposure and as time progresses, there's a lot of optimism that this sport is going to continue its upward trend.
I think it'll be right up there. I think it'll be girls basketball, girls volleyball, then flag. I mean, I think it'll be that popular. You see a lot of really good athletes. I think this will do nothing but go up big time.
And the girls are more than ready to take the game to the next level. In Scottsdale, Wilder Adams, Cronkite News.
The Arizona Cardinals became the first NFL team to partner with the network to broadcast and air girls flag football last month. As girls flag football is surging, so is the heat in the Valley, Nash.
Yeah, Marco Radice Morris joins us now from the Cronkite Weather Center with what we can expect.
Yeah, thanks, Nash. Welcome to the Cronkite Weather Center. Let's dive straight into that evening planner. And we are still in the triple digits at 7 p.m. before we get down to 92 degrees at 10 p.m. So these late evening strolls might have to hold off till slightly later tonight. Looking at the lows, Phoenix is leading the way at 80 degrees, but the Colorado River cities aren't far behind. 77 in Lake Havasu, 78 in Bullhead City, but quite the contrary up north. 38 degrees in the Grand Canyon. It's very chilly indeed. Looking at the highs, the southwest part of the state is leading the way as expected. Highs of 110 in Phoenix, Gila Bend, Yuma, and Lake Havasu. And as expected, cooler up north, 83 degrees in Flagstaff. That's the coolest part of the state. Now, ASU fans, what does this mean for the game against Kansas? Well, it's going to be very hot indeed. 105 at 2 and 3 p.m. By the time the game kicks off, it's going to be 106 degrees. So the game is going to be boiling. Looking at the 8-day forecast, 109 is the magic number on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But looking into next week, the temperatures are going to drop off ever so slightly. 104 on Wednesday and Thursday, and 103 on Friday. So much hotter than the average temperature this time of year. Could we finally be saying goodbye to those extreme temperatures? One can only hope. Back to you guys at the desk.
Coming up next, a retirement community in North Phoenix is helping display their residents' artwork.
They have been providing retirees with the opportunity to take art classes and showcase their work. Learn how art has become an essential part of their community after the break.
2, 1.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut. Coming up on the cut.
How students can build their broadcast journalism portfolio with opportunities to learn more about on-air reporting and studio production.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @thecut_network and on X at @CutASU.
3, 2, 1. Cronkite News. Get real professional experience in areas such as reporting, broadcast editing, and behind-the-scenes production, such as technical director and audio.
Kill the mics.
Or go out in the field and cover important local stories.
We learn and master the English language.
In a fun, welcoming atmosphere. Cronkite News. The future starts now.
Welcome back. I'm Keith Hall with a preview of tonight's news headlines. There are just 33 days to go until the general election, and abortion rights are at the forefront. Macy Markham reports that Arizona's Proposition 139 may drive up turnout, as well as play a role in the presidential race.
The ballot initiative known as Proposition 139 would constitutionally protect abortion in Arizona up until fetal viability, effectively overturning the state's current 15-week ban. Similar measures are on the ballot in Nevada and Montana, which both have Senate contests like Arizona. Arizona and Nevada are both presidential battlegrounds. Democrats are expecting a boost in turnout, especially from young women who put abortion rights high on their priority list. 4 states had abortion measures in 2022, and they all saw surges in voter turnout. Democratic political consultant Stacey Pearson expects a large female turnout, especially from Gen Z.
We know turnout is going to be higher with abortion on the ballot, and particularly turnout among young women, and having control of your own body on the ballot is certainly something that we know is motivating young women.
Conservative political consultant Sean Noble says that Republicans are better off when they avoid the topic, but most voters have already decided whether they'll vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, he said, or Ruben Gallego or Carrie Lake in the Senate contest.
Prop 139 being on the ballot is going to have very little impact on the presidential race or the Senate race. There's very, very few people who are coming out either to vote for 139 or to vote against 139 that aren't already actively involved in wanting to vote for president and Senate.
Nearly 1 in 5 registered voters in Arizona is part of Gen Z. Political scientist Samara Klar says abortion has been increasingly important to young voters since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade 2 years ago.
Since it was overturned with the Dobbs decision, it has become a substantially more important issue because, as it turns out, the vast majority of Americans do not support a ban. And in light of Dobbs, several states did implement these bans.
A Politico analysis shows that Democrats haven't gotten a consistent boost when abortion rights are on the ballot. And in many states, Republican voters drove up the margins for these initiatives, but also cast their ballots for Republican candidates. In Washington, Macy Markham, Cronkite News.
Democrats have spent roughly $55 million on ads in Arizona through September, as opposed to roughly $44 million from the GOP. If you thought this summer was warmer than normal, you'd be right. The National Weather Service says September was the hottest September ever recorded for Phoenix. Last month, there were a total of 17 records broken at Sky Harbor Airport. That's where the official temperature for Phoenix is gauged. And as you can see, the average temperature last month was 94 degrees, breaking the previous record set in 2001. By the way, records for Phoenix go back to 1896. Art can be an important element in people's lives. And for one senior living center in North Phoenix, it has provided a sense of community. Reporter Alyssa Firestone tells us about the group who not only found inspiration, but a passion through art.
Art is, of course, always a very personal experience, both in terms of enjoying and in terms of creating. And so we see a great variety of expression here in the art.
Years ago, resident Dwight Landman was invited to consider displaying an art wall showcasing the art of other residents. Since the opening of the wall and introduction of art classes and showcases, art has been a staple in the community.
We had no idea at the time how many we would be able to do, but this art wall in which we're standing in front of has been up for almost 7 years and changes every 6 weeks.
This is our painting studio.
Resident Naomi Goodell helped to create the display wall alongside Landham and is one of the several artists at Sagewood. She uses art to reflect on different aspects and events that occur throughout her life.
We used broccoli instead of a brush for the trees, and then I painted in the rest of it. But it's a wonderful memory of a great time, and it's just fun.
Aside from the art wall, art is displayed on other walls throughout the community as well to ensure that each resident has the opportunity to have their art shown.
Each exhibit is hung for a period of approximately 3 months. We also have another larger painting that is hung during the same time in the Mesquite Grill.
Resident Yair Joe had no prior background in art before coming to Sagewood and now has grown a deep passion for the activity.
Totally in a different world for hand painting.
Thanks to Alyssa Firestone for that report. Taking a look at news from around the country. Power crews are working on the power backfalling for Hurricane Helene. 2,000 workers have been in Asheville, North Carolina since Saturday.
The biggest challenge that we've had is this has been a historic storm. We've never had one like this.
10 seconds. Nearly 200,000 people are still without power in North Carolina, but that's not all. According to NPR, residents of Asheville might be without drinking water for several weeks. Iconic British rock band Pink Floyd has reportedly agreed to sell their music catalog, along with their name and likeness rights to Sony. The UK's Financial Times reported the historic $400 million deal earlier this week. According to sources, ownership of the band's likeness means Sony would profit from the sale of merchandise and future movie deals, but it limits Sony's rights to the band's recorded music, meaning that they will not have the rights to the band's songwriting. Pink Floyd has reportedly been trying to sell the catalog for several years. That's it for tonight's news headlines. I'm Keith Hall. Now back to Lauren and Nash at the desk.
Coming up next, over in Italy, a junk dealer uncovered something very special.
That's right, Lauren. That junk dealer really found a diamond in the rough. A painting pulled from the darkest corner hung on a family's living room wall for decades, and the painting came from a man's great brush. Details are up next.
2, 1. Cronkite News. Get real professional experience in areas such as reporting, broadcast editing, and behind-the-scenes production, such as technical director and audio.
Kill the mics.
Or go out in the field and cover important local stories.
We learn and master the English language.
In a fun, welcoming atmosphere. Cronkite News. The future starts now.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage.
Against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
Here at the Walter Cronkite School, students produce award-winning content that focuses on health disparities in underserved communities and how to turn things around. In Cronkite News and Cronkite Noticias, students cover stories that affect people of color, the LGBTQ+ community, people with disabilities, and others across the Southwest.
We highlight big problems that are often overlooked in communities that are underserved.
Those stories not only inform and educate people about the challenges, but we work hard to highlight potential solutions. In the Cronkite Agency, students work to connect with community members through social media campaigns in English and Spanish.
Being a Hispanic myself, it's nice to be able to give back to my own community.
Find more of our health coverage at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Welcome back. A painting worth millions was found in the basement of an Italian villa.
Turns out the painting is by Picasso, and experts say it's a painting of Picasso's lover. The man who found the painting hung it up in his family home and restaurant for about 50 years. The family tried to authenticate the artwork, and finally, last month, Picasso's signature on the artwork was certified as authentic. It is estimated to be worth $6.6 million, but could fetch much more at auction.
That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Lauren Avenatti.
And I'm Nash Dara. Thank you for joining us. And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.